Good morning. It is Monday the 7th of December. Time for gentle yoga. We're a minute early or so just start to get comfortable. And if you're at home, we're going to be using a strap later today, so grab a belt or a strap or whatever you have that you use and just have it handy for later. You won't need it for a while, and then get blankets if you need to sit up on to be more comfortable in your hips, or if you'd like to sit up in a chair. When you are in your chair, get your feet hips distance apart and parallel. And I'll demonstrate a little stuff with a chair later. I'm just going to start on the floor today. So you just want to be comfortable for yourself. Let your eyes close gently now. And start to enjoy feeling your breath coming in and going out through your nose. And gradually, let the breaths even out a little bit. So as you inhale, let yourself count and see if you can reach that same count or pretty close to it when you exhale. Breath come into the belly now, feeling the belly rise and expand as you inhale. And now start to move a little bit with your breath. Let your exhalations bring you forward and your inhalations bring you back. It does not matter how far forward you come. Let your back stay nice and long. And think of keeping the back of your head in line with your spine as you move forward and back with your breath. So allowing the chin to not jut forward, but instead you just let the back of the head stay in line with your spine. And the next time that you end up sitting upright again, let yourself stay there. Release your arms on out beside you, letting the shoulders soften down. And let's inhale just the right arm all the way out and up overhead. And come on over into a little side stretch. Using your left hand to support you, whether you're in your chair, you can either put the hand on the chair leg or bring the hand up into your lap if that feels better, or hand on the floor there. Breathing into that right side. And then we'll come on back up. We're going to lower that right arm on down. And now make a big circle. Bringing your right arm forward and then up overhead and then back behind you if you can, so that you just make one big circle with the arm. And let's reverse that circle now. So let yourself reach back first and then come up and over the top. And then allow the arm to come on back down beside you. And let's inhale the left arm all the way out and up overhead. We're going to come over into the side stretch here. So again, breathing into the left ribs. Really draw down with your left sitting bone. Feel the ribs expanding as you inhale. Good. One more breath. And then we'll come on back up. We're going to lower the arm on down. And again, that big circle coming forward first. So bringing that left arm forward, up overhead as high as feels good, back behind you as much as you can. And then we'll reverse, starting backwards, and then bringing the arm on up and coming on forward, lowering the arm on down beside us here. And now bring your arms behind you. So if you're in your chair, you can drape your arms over the back of your chair. If you're on the floor, you can put fingertips or go ahead and go flat onto your hands behind you. That's up to you. Drawing the chest forward, drawing the shoulders back. And be comfortable where you look. You know, you may decide you want your chin parallel to the floor, or it might feel good to look up a little bit. And then we're going to release and come on back. Let your chin come down towards your chest. Release your head forward. And then just slowly turn your chin towards one side at a time so you're releasing there. Feeling the weight of the head. You can stay on a side if that feels better to you than keeping moving. Good. And then we'll finish off to come back to center with the chin, and we're going to come on back up with our heads. And we're going to switch, if you're cross-legged, the cross of your legs so that you bring yourself to the other side, right? And we're going to move again, exhaling as we come forward and inhaling as we come back up. To start to, again, feel the breath bring you into this movement, forward and back. Take your time. Don't go any farther than feels good. Good. And now this time, the next time we end up forward, stay there. If you're on the floor, you may want to put your hands on the floor to support yourself. You may decide you want to go farther out or forward. In your chair, if you want to separate your feet and let yourself release down between your thighs and go farther down with your hands, go right ahead. Same thing on the floor. Just adjust how you need to. And then come into being with your breath. Try to let go of your jaw and your face if you feel some tension there. I mean, it might even help just to kind of move your mouth around. Good. One more breath here. And then we're going to slowly make our way on back up, bringing our arms on out beside us. Inhaling here. And on the exhale, let's twist to our right. So bringing yourself around, left hand towards your right knee, or maybe to the midline, depending on you. Lengthening up. Feel your sitting bones drawing down. Now if you can, stay in your twist. But when you exhale, turn your head so that you look over towards the left. So you're just kind of bringing your gaze back around, looking kind of over your left shoulder if you can. One more inhale. And as you exhale, come on back around into center and stop here at center. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to twist the other way to the left. Right hand can come around maybe to your left knee. At first, you might want to turn to look a little bit over behind you, depending on how your neck feels. Feel your right sitting bone drawing down. And on your next exhale, we're going to turn just the head, remember. So you're staying in the twist, but turning your head back towards the right, looking out over the right shoulder. Good. One more inhale. And then use your belly to bring you all the way back around into center, hands on out beside you again. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands right down together in front of our hearts. And we're going to unfold our arms from here. Shake your hands out a little bit. We're going to come around towards our hands and knees. So if you don't want to be on your knees, don't be. Grab that chair and use the seat of the chair if you'd like. Put a blanket underneath your knees or your hands or both if you need to. Remember, if your wrists bother you, you can come on to fists. That takes the wrist crease out. You can also come down to forearms if it feels better. And then take your time. Let yourself, once you kind of get your hands where you feel comfortable, wag your tail a little bit. Let your hips just shift a little side to side. Come on back into center and take a nice inhale here as you look between your hands. And on your exhale, draw up into your cat pose. Feel the tailbone dropping down. Feel the head releasing forward, rounding up into the back. Feel that space between the shoulder blades on your back. And let your next inhale send your tailbone backing up. Feel how your belly drops down and your ribs sink. Your heart melts down. You can look down or forward depending on you. And then on your next exhale, drawing again. Tailbone up under you, rounding up into your cat pose. And on your inhale, sending that tailbone backing up and moving back through. Now you keep on going with your own tempo, right? The speed of your own breath, or maybe you feel better to stay in cat or cow. If that feels better, do it. Good. And then we'll finish off so that we come back to that more neutral spine again. Let yourself just look down there between your hands. And then look to your right. Let your head just turn to the right and float your right arm up so you can bring the arm straight out from your shoulder. You can even see your hand there if you want. If you want to go higher with the hands, you can. You can bring the right hand up towards the ceiling. Then that'll make you tilt a little bit in your pelvis. That's fine. And then come on back down with the hand, and we're going to look to the left. You can bring the arm again, just right out from your shoulder. You can see your hand there. If you feel like you want to rise the hand up, keep looking up towards it. You might get a little more into the shoulder, that's for sure. And then we'll come on back down with the hand. And from here, let's bring our left foot forward and our right foot back and find our first lunge. Be mindful, use the height you need. Hands on the blocks or hands on the chair or on the floor, depending on you. But take time. Look at that left knee. Make sure it's no farther forward than your ankle. And now really reach into that inner right heel back there. Engage your belly a little bit. And we're going to switch and go to the other side. So again, take your time. Let yourself get the length of stance that feels good. Make sure that front knee is bent no farther forward than your ankle. Opening up the back of that left leg now. Feel that inner left heel reaching directly back. And engage your belly. Good. We're going to switch again. So take your time here. Press the feet away from each other. And let's see about adding a little twist. Bring your left hand up to your left hip and then roll that left shoulder up and just come into an easy little twist. Keep the hand down on your low back or your hip. And then we'll come on back down with the hand. We're going to switch legs again. So getting really stable in your lunge. Take your time here. Press the feet gently away from each other. And then when you're ready, right hand comes on up to the hip and let yourself roll into that twist there, rolling that shoulder up. Hand can be on the low back or on the hip. And then we'll come on back down. We're going to step forward, making our way into standing forward bend. So feet hips distance apart and parallel. Use whatever support you like underneath your hands or your arms. Let your knees bend, maybe a little deeper than you normally do for a second. And really feel equal through the feet here. Make sure you're not rolling to the insides or the outsides of your feet. Float your toes up for a second. Try to spread them out a little bit. And then let the toes release on back down. And you can come into straighter legs. You know you can keep your knees bent. Come on into your standing forward bend where you feel very nice and released in the upper body. Just allowing that weight of the upper body forward to help the backs of the legs to find a little more openness just by being with your breath. Good. One more nice full deep breath. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. Let's press into our feet and rise up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms on down beside us. And inhale your arms straight out from your shoulders. Flex your hands for a second. Let yourself bend the elbows a little bit here at first. And then imagine you're pushing two invisible walls away from you as you press now into straighter arms, feeling the undersides of the arms there. And then let's lower our arms on down beside us, clasp our hands together, and draw your hands over to the right. You may even want to rest your left forearm on your low back. If you can do that, do. And then squeeze your right palm in towards your left. So you feel your activation of your biceps there. You feel your shoulders. See if you can tilt your head a little to the right, just a little bit. And then come on back up to the top, bring the hands back to center, and we're going to go to the left with the hands. Again, maybe your right forearm can rest on your low back. You don't necessarily have to do that. And then try squeezing your palms together. So feel the tailbone reaching down towards between your heels. See if you can softly tilt your head a little bit to the left. Be really easy about it though. Left ear coming towards the left shoulder. And then we'll come on back up to the top with the head. We're going to bring our hands on back into center. Take a nice inhale here. And on the exhale, bend your knees and come on forward. And you can stay flat back, parallel to the floor. Bend your knees as much as you need, or you can fold forward all the way over your leg. Whether you want your arms to release at all off your back is totally up to you and your shoulders. So if that feels good, to let yourself open up there through the shoulders that way with the arms coming off, do. One more breath. And then releasing our arms on down, let your next inhale help you find a nice long flat back. Really lengthen back through the tailbone and out through the top of your head. Back of your head in line with your spine. And we'll step our right foot back here now and come into lunge. So adjusting into that lunge. Press the feet gently away from each other. Inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So remember, your hands can be what height you like for dog. You're more than welcome to use the back of a chair if you need to, so your body is more like a capital letter L shape. Or you can put your hands down lower to the seat or down to the blocks of the floor. Walk a little bit. Feel your elbows gently hugging towards each other. Adjust how you need. Good. And then our next inhale is going to bring us out towards a plank. You don't have to do a full plank. You're more than welcome to come to your forearms if you need to get out of your wrists. You can stay in plank. You can put your knees down if you'd rather, if you're on the floor, and do a half plank. Or some of you may even want to bend your elbows a little bit in towards your ribs. It doesn't have to be a full push-up to get a lot going on there in the arms and the shoulders. And then we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. Reaching equally back through the sit bones. Remember, knees can be bent in your dog. Really focus on that length of the spine there. And we'll bring the right foot forward to come to lunge. And you know it's fine to put your left knee down if you need to do that to get into that lunge. And then we'll step back into standing forward bend, feet hips distance apart and parallel. Support however you need. Hands on the chair or blocks or elbows above the knees. If you want to hold your own elbows, get a little added extra tractioning there, you can. And then watch your breath. See if you can let the inhales and exhales even out again. We'll bring our hands back up to our hips, bend our knees, and rise on up to standing. Let's inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And let's sit back in a little chair pose. Keep your hands to your heart. Let yourself just sit. It can be a high chair. Depends on you. Hips shift back. Torso comes forward a little bit. You can, if you want, bend a little bit deeper. That's up to you. Feeling a little more engagement in your thighs. One more breath here, and then inhale all the way up, hands through the midline as you come on up to standing, and on the exhale, open the arms and come forward into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale lengthen out your spine, and this time we'll step our left foot back and come into lunge. Good. Inhale. Exhale into that downward facing dog pose. So again, your choice. Hands on blocks, hands on the floor or the chair. And walk a little bit, bend a knee at a time. Feel your elbows gently hugging in towards each other. So you feel that little bit of hollowing in your armpits, the muscles that come wrapping around under your arms and forward are what you're using here. Let's come on back out to that plank. And if you can, see if you can just bend one knee at a time in your plank, not letting your pelvis move around, right? Staying nice and solid. It's like you're walking your plank. Bending one knee and then the other. That is if you're in the full plank without your knees down. Good. Come on back to plank. If you want to bend your elbows a little bit, do. And then we'll make our way back into down dog. Reaching back equally through those sitting bones. Let's bring the left foot forward to come into lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend again. So take your time. Really, let your hands do what they want, right? If that support feels better, use it. If you'd rather put your hands on up on your back. Another one is to clasp your hands at the back of your head, not pulling, but just resting the hands there. That can be a different feeling. And then go right to those even breaths. Good. We're going to release our hands back up to our hips. Bend our knees and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms out and up overhead. Exhale. Come back to that little chair pose again. Let yourself come on back with the hips. Forward a little bit with your torso. Take your time here now. See if you can twist towards your right. Now you can stay up high. Just twist a little bit here. If you want to go lower, you can actually put your left elbow onto your right knee and go way low in a twist here. And then we'll come on back to center, and we're going to twist to the other side. So again, you can stay up high. Let yourself try to keep your hips, your knees even. If you do put your elbow down, you might want to look and make sure you're even there in your knees. And then we'll come on back into center. We're going to rise all the way back up. Find your mountain pose here for a breath. Feel your feet equaling the floor. And then we'll release our arms on down beside us and inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, we're going to come forward into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that flat back. And let's walk into downward facing dog pose here. So walking your way back, coming into your down dog. Get your hands in the place that's right for you. You know that, the height that you like. And on the next inhale, let's come on out to plank. Now you can stay in your plank. You can come into a back bend if you choose to. You can, if you're on the floor, go down to the floor and come onto your forearms into Sphinx, or you can come up a little into a baby cobra, or you can come for an up dog. And then we'll make our way back to down dog. Remember, these are optional. Walk a little bit in your dog maybe, wag your tail a little bit, and actually let your head turn side to side. Good, let's meet back in our full dog, and we're going to do that same thing. Coming on out to plank. Total optional to do a back bend. So what kind you do is totally up to you, or doing one at all. And then we'll make our way again back into downward facing dog pose. Good. Let's bring our right foot forward to come into our lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Let it feel like a huge relief to be in your forward bend if you can. Just feeling that sense of being very equal between your feet, but being able to allow the upper body to let go. One more breath. And we'll bend our knees, bring our hands to our hips. We're going to rise on up and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Now see if you can sway side to side a little bit here in your mountain pose. Let the weight shift a little bit, not so much you're going to fall over from one side to another. And then come on back into center and see if you can do the same thing front to back, which is, you even want to make it a little smaller because it's really easy to fall over doing that. Good, and then see if you can kind of make a circle. You go forward to one side and then back. And keep going that same direction with that circle. And then stop and go the other direction with the circles. Now, if you can, imagine that you're getting smaller and smaller with these circles, gradually. I mean, they're not very big anyway, but see, it's like, you know, when water goes down a drain. You just get that feeling of being able to get right into center where you're not moving anymore, but you feel totally balanced. And it's easy. You feel stacked up once you get there. Hips over ankles, shoulders over hips. Feels like the air around you is supporting you, coming into your mountain pose. And then we'll go ahead and let our arms come on down beside us, shake out a little bit, move around. If you need to move through your feet and your ankles, do. And we're going to come into some warriors. So if you're using your chair, you might want to turn it around and have your blocks handy at the front of your mat. And we're going to come into Warrior 2 with our right foot stepping back. So, you know, checking out the alignment of your heels. So think about your heels being in a line. That back foot about parallel to the back edge. You can always send your heel back farther. Feel the whole foot in the floor. Just for fun, try lifting all your toes up. It's a lot harder on that back foot, but it'll really tell you if you're rolling too much to the inside or the outside of that foot. Imagine your arches are drawing up away from the floor. Even if you're fairly flat-footed, still think about the arches drawing up. And then release your toes on back down. And let's rise our right arm. Look back over your right shoulder. Look at your right arm back there. Flex your hand for a second. And then go ahead and come palm down. Reach out through your fingertips. And see if you can now, as you reach back through the fingertips, start to turn your head back through center to the left, and we're going to slowly rise that left arm up in line. Flex that hand a second. Look at the back of that hand. Admire your hand. And then let the fingertips reach forward. So now you're really reaching into your Warrior 2 arms. Feel the feet gently pressing away from each other in the mat. That power and strength of your Warrior 2. One more breath. And then let your right hand come on down to your right hip. And we're going to straighten the left knee out. And we're going to bring our left hand down for triangle. Now you might want to use the back of your chair. You might want to come down to the seat of a chair. Or down your leg, right? Thighs are lifting up. Legs are engaged here now. Both legs are straight. And then start to roll that right shoulder up. Eventually adding the right arm straight up if you can. So thighs are engaging upward as you lengthen out through both sides of the body in your triangle pose. Take your time. Use that support wherever you need for your left hand there. One more breath. And then we'll bend the left knee. We're going to come on back into Warrior 2, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. And then let your hands come on down. We're going to turn our feet more parallel. And before we come forward, get your feet set so you're pretty parallel. And bring your hands behind you. Clasp your hands for a second. Let yourself feel really open across your chest. And then see if you can, when you inhale, let the hands come a little off your back. And your arms too, right? So you exhale, they come back in towards you. You inhale, the arms come away a little bit. You exhale, they come back towards you. One more time. Inhaling, the arms, the hands a little off. And then exhale, bringing them back down. And now bend your knees, come on forward, and let your elbows come now to rest above your knees. Lengthening out through the spine here now. And reaching back through your tailbones. Reaching back and forward and out through the top of your head. Now leave your left elbow where it is and reach your right hand across like you're reaching towards your left foot. So you're going across, trying to reach over, and if you can reach your foot, by all means do it. Let yourself take a breath here. And then bring that right elbow back above the right knee. And we're going to go the other side. So left hand's going to reach across. If you can get towards your foot or all the way to it, do. You're still supported there a little bit with your right elbow. And then come on back into center. Take your time here. Bring your hands to what you like to use, a block or the floor. And then start to bend one knee at a time. And really take time on that long leg to feel your inner thigh. So rather than just mindlessly flipping back and forth, see if you can really enjoy finding the release for the inner thigh. And then once you come on back into center and think about staying here to be with your breath, you adjust however you need. Blocks under forearms can be a really nice way if you need that length of the spine. Really nice way to be able to let your head hang but not feel any pressure in your back. Remember, your knees can be bent or knees can be straight. Do think about your arches lifting up. And see if you can now come to be with those full, deep, fairly even breaths. Now imagine, if you can for a second, that you have gills in the sides of the body, like a fish, right? And imagine if that's, you're breathing sideways, right? So you're thinking about breathing into the sides of the body. It's a very different feeling, right, than breathing into the belly. Just try a few of those. Good, and then a full deep breath coming into the belly, into the ribs, and into your chest. And as we get ready to rise up, you adjust however you need. So if you need to bring your feet a little closer together before you come up, do. Rising on up and bringing your feet on together and move around a little bit if you need to before we do the other side. So again, this time right foot comes forward. You know where we're heading, so if you like using your chair for your triangle pose there, have it there handy, or a block. And then again, focus on lining up your heels at first, getting those heels in line, lining up that right knee right out over the center of the foot, really feeling stable there. And then start to bring your left back arm up and look back again over your left hand. Flex your hand a second, admire the back of your hand, press gently into the heel of the hand. Feel the underside of the arm. And now go ahead and let the palm face down. Reach out through your fingertips, and we're going to turn to look to the right. And we're going to rise that right arm on up. Flex the right hand. Look at the back of that hand now. And then go ahead and let yourself reach out now through both sets of fingertips. Feel energy all the way out through the tips of the fingers, softening the shoulders down. Good. And we'll bring our left hand down to our left hip. Straighten our right knee out for triangle. So bringing the torso out over that right leg. You know, if you're using a block, the block can be in front of or behind your foot there, or your leg. Feel the thighs engaging upwards. Rolling the left shoulder up. If you feel good to bring that left arm up, you can. If not, just keep the hand down. So you're still doing a lot of work here with the thighs engaging up towards the hips. Letting yourself extend out through the spine. One more breath. And then we'll bend that right knee. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two. So press those feet away from each other as you come. Reaching out through the fingertips, finding that core strength. And then we'll bring our hands down. Beautiful. We're going to turn our feet more parallel again. Actually, for a second, rotate your heels forward and come into a little goddess pose. Don't have to go very deep. Just imagine as the toes are turning out, knees are coming out over the center of the feet. Tailbone drops straight down. So you're not tucking your tailbone forward, but you're not letting your belly hang and tilting your pelvis forward, right? So you can always put your right hand on your belly, your left hand there on your low back, and kind of feel if you're dropping straight down with your tailbone. And then bring your arms straight out from your shoulders. Bend your elbows to 90 degrees. Let your palms face forward. And now as you exhale, bring your hands and your forearms towards each other in front of you. And then as you inhale, let them open back out wide. It's like you're closing a book with your arms. Exhale, bringing the arms, hands, elbows forward. And then inhale and open back. And then one more time, exhaling, letting yourself come on in. And then inhale and open back out wide. And then lower your arms on down. Let's straighten the legs, turn our feet more parallel. And we're going to come forward again. So again, grab blocks if you need them. You can bring your hands to the floor if you'd rather. Once you get supported there, go ahead and bend your knees one at a time. Take your time. Ease your way. Do whatever feels like a relief. I mean, you can even turn your toes out like we did in Goddess and bend a knee at a time if you want a little bit different stretch. So that's kind of fun too. And then come on back to where your feet are as parallel as you can. And you're able to find, again, a place where you can release into your breath. Whether it's hands coming between your feet or forearms or hands on your blocks or even your head. You can support your head with a block if that feels good. And then watch your breath. See if you can find those little spaces between your breaths. Just taking time to appreciate those little spaces at the end of your inhales and at the end of your exhales. Good. One more breath. And when you get ready to rise up, you use whatever help you need. Hands on the thighs or above the knees, or pressing your way up and bringing your feet together when you're ready. Walk around if you need to. Move through your feet and your ankles. And this time, we're going to come into a warrior one. So again, have your blocks handy. We'll come forward, come to the forward edge of your mat so that then you get your feet right underneath you, and you're just going to really easily take your step back with your right foot. Coming into keeping those shoulders square. It doesn't matter whether your feet are 2 feet apart, 3 feet, 4 feet, right? Back foot is fully in the floor, shoulders are drawn around square. And let your hands just come to be in front of your chest. Bow your head to look at your hands for a second. And while you're doing that, you can see your front knee. You can make sure it's not going out beyond your toes. And then on your next inhale, bring your gaze on back forward. And then we'll inhale the hands up through the midline. Now, up to you. You can separate your hands if that's better for your shoulders, or you can clasp your hands and send your pointer finger up. Elbows can hug in towards your head. If you feel like you want to bring your gaze up a little bit, feel the feet equal in the floor here. Enjoy that lift through the front of your body. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to release. We're going to bring our arms down and behind us, clasp our hands, and we're just going to bow forward over this front leg. Maybe just your head. Maybe you want to go ahead and release your torso over your inner thigh. You can even bring your arms off your back if you choose in this humble warrior. That's up to you. You can keep your hands down. One more breath. And then we're going to find lunge. So we'll bring our hands down to whatever surface you like, a chair or blocks. And now release back into your full lunge. So letting that heel reach directly behind your foot there. And we're going to add a twist. So left hand coming to the left hip. You can stay with your hand there on your low back or your hip. Or you can stretch that left arm straight up overhead. Really feeling that length out through the crown of the head, back through the inner heel. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hands on back down for lunge. We're going to straighten the front knee out. Now don't do pyramid, just straighten the left knee out. Let the right heel just descend straight back. So you get a little more in your calf, just for good feeling here. One more breath. And then we'll bend the front knee. We're going to step forward and get our feet right underneath us. Bend both your knees a little bit. Let your head turn a little side to side, or maybe you can nod your head yes, as well as not shaking your head no. And then come on back with the hands up to the hips. We're going to bend our knees and come on up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down. And find your mountain pose here now. If you need to shift around a little bit, do. Feel your hands together there. Equal between your feet. Imagine your tailbone is just reaching down towards between your heels. And then we'll go ahead and unfold our arms on down. Shake out a little bit. We're going to go the other side. So step to the front edge of your mat again. And again, we'll bring our left foot back this time. So as you take a kind of comfortable step back, maybe you're like, well, I need to get a little wider, or I need to get a little longer, shorter. Bringing the shoulders around square to the front of the mat. Bringing your hands together in front of your chest. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Feel the connection. Like feel your pointer fingers really, really gently connecting there. Your middle fingers, your ring fingers, and your pinkies, and your thumbs. Good. Really feel that back foot in the floor as you inhale your hands up through the midline. Now, if you want to interlace your fingers, send your pointer finger up, you can, or you can separate your hands. And again, you can bring that gaze up if it feels good to you. Feeling that lift through the front of the body. That openness through the front of the left hip. One more breath. And then we'll release. We're going to look forward and bring our arms on down. Clasp your hands behind you. And now you can bow your head and let yourself round a little bit forward here. Or you can go ahead and release and fold over that inner thigh if you choose. Whether your arms, your hands will come off your back or not, that is up to you and your shoulders. So one more breath. And then letting the hands come down, we'll bring our hands for our lunge to what we like to use. And now you might want to lengthen your lunge. Release your heel directly behind your foot. And we're going to add that twist. Right hand to the right hip and turning into your twist. Hand can be right there on your sacrum. Try not to drop into that left side. Try to stay pretty level there with your hips. And you can rise the arm up if you choose. Nice, easy breaths. Really elongating out through the whole body here. And then we'll bring our hand back down for lunge. We're going to straighten that front knee out. So again, just let the heel of that back foot come directly behind. So you get a little more in the backs of both legs, obviously. Good. One more breath. And then bend the knee. Come on forward. Step your way forward into your standing forward bend. Releasing now. If you can, and you can use hands on blocks, let your torso kind of sway a little bit side to side, like if you were an elephant and you had a trunk. So the upper body is just going a little bit side to side, but you're still very grounded through your feet. And then make your way back into center. Bend your knees a little bit. Press gently into your feet. And we're going to rise on up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, reach up through the crown of the head as the hands come right to rest in front of your chest. Feel your fingers connected again. Actually, barely separate your hands right now so that you know that it's just a little tiny bit. The fingers aren't quite touching the thumbs, the palms, not quite. but you can feel the warmth from your hands, the energy from your hands. And then on your next exhale, just softly reconnect each finger and your thumbs, whatever part of your palms connect. And enjoy that quiet strength of simply standing in your mountain pose. Good. And then we'll come on down with our hands. Shake out a little bit. Move around if you need to. Walk around, move through your feet. We're going to bring our mats into a wall. So take your time. Let yourself bring your mat on into a wall. So take your time. Let yourself get your blocks in your hands. And now whether you use the back wall or not right here is up to you. We're going to practice a little half moon. You might feel more comfortable if you bring your hands to your blocks and you put your right foot back to the wall. You might feel more comfortable having the foot on the wall, or you might decide, no, I don't want to touch the wall. I want my leg to come out without the wall being at my foot. Because half moon is when you open your toes away from the floor, right? So it's that hip rotating. It's like you're stacking your right hip on top of your left. Sometimes the foot in the wall is just too much for people's hips. Don't overturn it out, right? You don't want the foot parallel to the ceiling or the floor. The toes are facing down just a little bit. So it's a natural turnout in your hip. And if that's too much, just don't do it at all, right? Now if your right foot is back there on the wall, you can shift your weight to your left hand and maybe bring your right hand up to your right hip. You don't have to do that for half moon. You can keep your hands down. You can even stretch the right arm up and turn your gaze to look to the right. So the foot back there gives you stability, basically. One more breath. And then we'll come on back down. We're going to switch legs. So before you even think about it, put the right foot down, put the left foot up. It's a relief right there. Now you can keep the toes facing down. If your hip bothers you, stay in your warrior three. It's fine. You can open the toes away from the floor. Again, there's that angle there to the foot. You're turning out from your hip. And if you want to shift your weight to your right hand, you can do that. You can bring your left hand up to your left hip. You can stay looking down. You don't have to do this. You don't have to look away from the floor or bring the arm up. It's that extension through the spine, but it is a deep hip opener. Don't force anything. Good. And then we'll come on back down and bring yourself on back down. We're going to come on back to the wall now with our hips. So let yourself come back and do a little chair at the wall. So your knees are bent. You can let yourself release back. Turn your palms out away from the wall. And just kind of press the backs of the hands gently towards the wall. And it might be that the back of your head is in the wall. Your knees are bent, so you're feeling your quads. Or it might be that your head is off the wall. It depends on how you're built in your shoulders. So be where you can. Let yourself feel that openness across your chest. Good. And then come on up and turn your left shoulder towards the wall. For a second, and get real close. Get your shoulder really into the wall. And then see if you can rise your right arm up and lean your head in towards the wall, maybe even touching the wall. And see if your right fingertips can come up to touch the wall as well. So you're just breathing a couple of breaths into your right ribs. And just breathe so it feels very good to allow the head to relax into the wall. Opening up the right ribs. And then come on up, lower that right arm down. Rise your left inner arm up the wall now. Now, this is different for everybody. If you can bend your elbow and put your hand behind your neck or on your upper back. Now, if this bothers your shoulder, don't do it. You can step away from the wall. You can put your elbow forward. Do what feels okay. And then if your right hand feels like it's okay to bring it behind you, turn your palm out away from your sacrum. That might be enough You want more, you can think about bringing your hands towards each other on your back. That is totally up to you. Be easy, keep your gaze forward, try not to look down and bring that roundness into the upper back. Imagine you're breathing in and out through your heart for a couple of breaths. And then we're going to step away from the wall, lower our arms on down, let your arms swing around a little bit, and we're going to turn around. And we're going to start with the right shoulder towards the wall, and we're going to bring our left arm up and lean our head right into the wall. Let your left fingertips come to the wall. And then just breathe into the left ribs. Really just enjoying that breath, expanding. Imagine those spaces between the ribs when you inhale. Those little intercostal muscles get a great release here. One more breath. And then we'll come on back up, and we're going to rise that right inside arm up. Again, if you need to step away from the wall, do. Bend the elbow, let the right hand come down where it will. You know, it might be the top of your head, the back of your head, the back of your neck, or your upper back. And then left hand can just easily turn palm outward. If this is too much for your left shoulder, don't even do this. If you want more, you can imagine sending the hands closer towards each other on the back. Remember, keep your gaze forward, which keeps that roundness in the upper back from happening. And if you practice this at home, like with a towel or a strap, over time it makes a huge difference. Pretty easy one to do every day. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to release. We're going to come on down, bring your arms on down, shake them out a little bit. Actually, let them kind of swing where you make a little X in front of you, and then the other arm comes on top so that you release that way. Good. Good. And we're going to come on down and sit on the floor at first. So if you need to sit up on a block or a block and a blanket or two blankets or whatever feels good, do it. We'll just stretch our legs on out in front of us and have your blocks handy too, right? So let yourself stretch your legs out. We'll find a little staff pose here. So we'll bring our hands right down beside us. So most people, my arms are short compared to my torso, so I can't press my palms into the ground. They don't reach quite, but as you sit up nice and tall, if your palms are down on the floor, press down into your palms, feel space between your ears and your shoulders. And now feel your heels on the ground and draw them back towards you just a little bit. And then from here, take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, twist to your left, bring yourself around. Now really feel that right sit bone drawing into the floor. Feel your heels on the floor. Lengthen up through the top of your head. One more inhale. And on the exhale, come on back around through center. We're going to keep on going in the other direction still. Again, feel those heels in the ground. Feel yourself lengthening upward through the crown of your head. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, come on back around in the center. Now bring your blocks back behind you. You can go kind of to the lowest height and see if you can just lean back onto the blocks with your forearms. Think about if somebody had a string attached to your sternum and they're drawing it up and a little bit forward. Now you don't have to look up. My neck really bothers me. A lot of people in this kind of a supported fish variation pose like to let their head hang back. More power to you if that feels good. Otherwise, if I were you, just be where you're comfortable. If you happen to have a wall close enough or a pole like this, it can feel good. Let yourself open through the chest there. Good. One more breath. And now we're going to come on up and we're going to bend our knees and bring the soles of our feet towards each other. At first, let your feet be way far out there. So you have more of a diamond shape in the empty space there between your legs, right? And your soles of the feet might not come all the way together. It's fine. And ease your way a little bit forward here. And maybe you want to bring your head, release your head forward too. Some of you might even want to come way down, put your head down towards your feet. If that feels like a relief to your hips, do it. If not, stay up where you can. Let your breath come in and go out fully, easily, and deeply. And then we'll slowly come on back up to sitting. And go ahead and stretch your legs out again. Circle through your feet and your ankles a little bit. And we're going to come down onto our backs. Before you go, you want to have blocks handy, but you want that strap handy before you lie down, okay? So you can just reach over and get it with no issue. And once you come down, bring your knees on into your chest. Be mindful of what your own body needs, if circling your knees helps or just letting the knees come side to side. Just be mindful. Some of you might even want to curl up and do a little ball if that feels good. Just let your body take over for a little bit here, just to do what feels good for your hips and your back. And then we'll let our feet come on down. Set up for a little bridge pose here. So feet a little bit wider than mountain. Bring your arms down alongside you. Roll your shoulders under. And if bending your elbows really helps you, to let the elbows bend and the palms face each other, do that. And then press into your feet. Press into the backs of the arms. And see if you can just slowly lift up. It doesn't have to be a high bridge pose. You can go up as high as you choose. If you feel like rolling your shoulders under more once you get up there, go right ahead. If you want to stretch your arms out long on the floor, you can. Or clasp your hands underneath you. Clasping the hands, we did a lot of hands clasped behind us. You might try it if you don't usually do it in bridge. And see if it feels any good at all today. But just take your time. You can move up and down. Feel free to grab a block if you want to. And be in supported bridge if that feels better to you. So just be mindful and allow yourself. Remember, the block has 3 heights. There's also stacking 2 blocks up if you want to be up really high and a little more stable. You can always stack 2 blocks. But gently feel the back of your head into the ground. So it's like you have space in your throat. Sometimes another fun thing to do in bridge is to lift your heels up, which usually, if you're not in supported bridge, but in your bridge, will lift your hips up a little bit higher. And then you can always, as you lower the heels down, just kind of challenge yourself to stay there where your hips are. Now be mindful as you start to come down. Whether you're up on a block or you're just up in general, bring yourself down slowly. Bring your knees on in towards your chest. And send your feet up. A little happy baby. You don't even have to reach for your feet if you don't want. You can just separate your knees. Let the low back release as you flex your feet. You can reach up if you like. If you want to go a little deeper in that happy baby, do. And then we're going to come on down. And we are going to get a hold of that strap. So, strap onto the ball of the right foot. And take your time, kind of even your strap out, just because it's easier if they're pretty even in length. Let your left foot stay on the floor for a second, okay? So left foot is on the floor, right knee bends. Think about the knee coming a little bit towards your right shoulder. So it's like your inner thigh slides a little more to the outside of your right rib cage, right? And then from there, see about lengthening that left leg down long on the floor if you can. Now press into the strap with the ball of the right foot. And now as you think of straightening your leg out, remember it doesn't have to come fully straight. You can release the leg a little more away from you as well. Hold the strap however you feel comfortable, where you feel like your hands aren't just, really uncomfortable. Wrapping the strap around the hands can help with that if you feel like it's hard to grip, because you don't want tension in your hands if you can help it. So if stretching the left leg down long on the floor doesn't feel good, don't do it. Just put the left foot back on the floor so the knee's bent. And just breathe. Let yourself just feel the weight of the arms help the back of that right leg to open up a little deeper. And then we'll bring both ends of the strap into our right hand, and we're going to let the leg open to the right. Left hand can just rest on the top of your left hip. Don't go so high that you let that left side pop up off the ground. And then press into the strap with the ball of the foot. But feel that length of that left leg, if you do have it stretched long. Remember, you can still have the knee bent if that's better. One more breath. And then we'll bring the foot on back up. Let your left hand come over and get both ends of the strap. Right arm out beside you on the floor. And go ahead and come across to the left just a little bit. And you'll really feel the outside of that right leg. Doesn't take long. If you press your foot back into your strap a little bit, like you're trying to get back up to the top with the foot, there's quite a bit of engagement in the outer leg there. If you want to go farther over, go for it. If you really like those deeper twists, you want to bring the leg over more, you can roll more to that left side. Let that left foot turn out so that the pinky toe comes down towards the ground. One more breath. And now come on back up to the top. We are going to let our left foot come on up, back and up into the strap to replace the right one. Put your right foot on the floor first, so the right knee's bent. And then bend your left knee. And again, let yourself imagine that you're sliding a little bit to the outer ribs with that left inner thigh. And now if you can elongate, stretch the right leg long first. The one that's going down long on the floor, do it. If that bothers you, don't do it. And then you can come into that straighter left knee. It doesn't have to be straight to open up the back of your leg. So again, try to adjust how you need to hold the strap. You can wrap your hands around it if that's better. Let yourself feel that gentle opening for the back of the leg. You're not pulling, simply allowing the natural weight of your arms to help the back of the leg open up. Doesn't matter how far away from you the leg is. And just breathe. Let it feel good. Let your shoulders release, your face go. And then we'll bring both ends of the strap into the left hand. Put your right hand just there on top of your right hip pointer bone and open to the left. So again, staying grounded through that right side. Press gently into the strap with the ball of the left foot. Take your time. Really just, again, enjoy opening the inner thigh here, that outward hip rotation. So your heel rotates upward a little bit. So one more breath. And then we'll come back up to the top with the leg. Right hand reaches over to get both ends of the strap. Stretch your left arm out beside you. Come a little bit over. And now again, if you want a little more on the outside of that leg, imagine you're pressing into the strap with the outside of that left foot, like you're trying to come back up to the top. And there you have a lot going on there. And the adding of deeper in that twist is totally up to you. If you want to come over farther with the leg, try to let the left shoulder stay grounded if you do that. That right foot can turn out on the floor, so the pinky toe comes down, the outside edge of the foot comes down. Now coming on back up to the top, take your time. We're going to put both feet up together into the strap. You can bend the knees as much as you need. Let the back release. Let your feet start to separate out a little wider. How far you go in this wide angle is up to you. I mean, you can go all the way to the ends of your strap if you want. Let yourself go really wide, or you can stay with the feet, 2 feet apart. Let yourself release there. And now, as you start to come out of this, do it however you want to get your strap off your feet, Just be mindful. We're done with the strap. You can put it on down. Let your knees come in. Do what feels good. If a happy baby or a little bit of a Baddha Konasana here, soles of the feet together sounds good. Or anything else, right? Anything right now that sounds like your body wants to do it, let yourself go. I mean, you may need another stretch. You may need another little twist out of what we just did. Those are deep twists with the straps. So take your time. You know that as we start to get ready for our Shavasana, that you need to let yourself grab support if you need it at home. So if you need a blanket rolled up under your knees, if you need a blanket for under your head so that you're released in your neck. I'm going to walk around here the studio and bring anything that people here might like. I have a few ideas, but just give me time. I'll get around to everybody. Remember, the important thing is to let yourself be comfortable. There is no right or wrong way. Shavasana is traditionally done lying on your back with your arms and legs long, so that the palms face up, the shoulders feel released, hips are released all the way down through the legs into your feet. But not everybody is the same. If you feel like you need some support, or even if you need to lie on your side, there is no right or wrong way to be in your Shavasana. So adjust as you need. Let yourself now just receive your breaths in and out through your nose. Let the breath change as it wants to. So your breath might become a little shallow, and then you realize you feel the need to take in a deeper breath. Just let yourself accept the breath, giving your mind and your body a few minutes of quietness here. Just let your awareness keep returning to your breath. And just trust that the body knows what to do to get what it needs from all you just did. Just by letting yourself completely and fully relax. feel good to let your hands and feet circle a little bit, coming into your wrists or ankles before you come into moving your arms and legs. Really take your time. You might even want to let your head roll a little side to side. Stretch or bend. Just take your time to come back to moving the way that feels good. You're welcome to roll onto either your right or your left side. If you're comfortable to be in a soft fetal position on your side, it can be a good way to adjust the brain, but do what feels good to you. And of course, when you feel okay to rise to sitting, just let yourself do that softly if you can, like you're floating your way up, and you can stay nice and relaxed. Get yourself comfortable for your hips, however you want to sit, and feel your sitting bones reaching down towards the ground and the top of your head just floating upwards, so you have all that space in your spine. It's easy to breathe. Come back to your breaths in and out. And on your next exhale, let your hands come softly to meet there in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Happy Monday.